and welcome to another episode of the Marco Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 4 of What Type of Clutter Bug Are You? So, as I told you all, I tried to find a butterfly, and it just did not happen. Like, I don't know what's up with all the ladybugs in my life. Maybe it's trying to tell me something. Maybe I need to be more like a ladybug. I don't know. But I just couldn't find a butterfly. So you all are stuck with me for this episode. So we're just going to jump right into it. So, to refresh your memory a little bit, a butterfly craves visual abundance and needs simple organizing systems. And I touched on this a little bit when I was doing the episode where my mom was on here. And I said that growing up, I felt like I may have been a bit of a butterfly. And as you all may remember, I actually told you all before that growing up, I was not the most organized person. I just hated organizing when I was growing up. The whole everything has a place and a place for everything. It didn't suit me as a child and as a teenager. And so I have always been a visual person, which is one of the things of the butterfly. And the butterfly likes to actually see their belongings for fear of out of sight, out of mind. And that's how I was. I didn't have clothes on top of the dresser or on the floor or anything. You all may remember that one episode where I told you about that my mom had surgery. I think it was the Mother's Day episode when I talked about my mom had surgery. And I just kind of threw my clothes all over the floor. I just threw everything all over the floor. So that was a lesson learned for me. I never went to that extreme again, but I did like to be able to see my stuff for fear of if I didn't see it, then I wouldn't remember that I had it and I may end up going out and buying it again or thinking that I loaned it out to someone or something like that. So I definitely had that. So I did like to see my things being visible. And the one thing that I think helped some was so fun fact, growing up in the house that we lived in, I had no doors on my closet. So the reason that I had no doors on my closet, the house that we lived in when I was growing up was built in like the 70s. And so when we moved in, everything was brown. Like the walls were brown. I think some of the carpet was brown. Some of it was green or something like that. I don't know. Closet doors brown, like all of this stuff brown. And so my parents took down the closet doors with intentions to, I guess, redo the closet doors. And it just never happened. And so I didn't have doors on my closet. So I was always able to see my clothes in my closet. So therefore, my closet was always kept really neat because that was just out in the open. But other stuff I would kind of just put on top of my dresser. If it was like magazines. I had a lot of magazine subscriptions growing up, so I'd have my magazines on top because I wanted to make sure that I read my magazines. I'd have no, I didn't have letters from my friends out there because you had to keep your letters secret. But definitely magazines, movies that I like to watch over and over on repeat before streaming services were popular. I would have the movies that I frequently watched either on my dresser. So in my room, I actually had, in the second room that I had in our house, there was a built-in. And so I would keep my movie stacked on top of the built-in. Or either I would keep them stacked in front of the VCR. Do y'all remember VCRs? I would keep my movies that I like to watch stacked in front of the VCR, just things that I would constantly use so that I wouldn't have to ramble for them. And so just the thought of having to put stuff up, it just really frustrated me and annoyed me because I would think, what's the purpose of me putting it up if I'm just going to pull it out again at the end of the week, or if I'm just going to pull it out again tomorrow. But my mom would be like, oh, you need to put that up. Why are these movies all over the place? Why is this magazine sitting here? You need to put it up. Well, if I put it up, then I'm going to forget about the magazine, and then the next subscription is going to come, and then I'm going to be mad because I didn't read it, and now I have two to read instead of one. So I didn't want to put my stuff up. So definitely a butterfly um when I was growing up. And so it says that Butterflies are overwhelmed with the idea of being organized, and that a butterfly needs easy, fast, micro organizing solutions that are visible and are clearly labeled. So one thing that I did start doing was, like I said, there was a built-in shelf in my bedroom. And at first my mom had all these pictures and stuff on it. And so I did start putting the stuff that I use frequently on the shelves so that I could see them, and so that it wasn't on the floor and it wasn't just kind of thrown about. It was stacked very nicely and very neatly where I could get to it if I needed to, and I could see what I had and I knew whether or not I read stuff or not. So, some tips for the butterfly are that clear bins are perfect for them. I don't know if clear bins would have really worked for me then, because it says to keep the lids off of them and you're more likely to maintain the system. But I don't think that clear bins would have worked for me, because I just would have seen that as another barrier to get to what I need. Even with the tops off of it, like I would still have to go through the bin and dig through the bin for what I needed. So I don't think personally that bins would have worked for me. It says labels. I think labels definitely would have worked for me. I'm pretty sure that labels would have worked for me, because I like labels now. I like to label things. So I think that labels would have worked for me. And another thing that it says is, hooks are a butterfly's best friend. Hang hooks in your entranceway, inside your closet, and on the back of doors. And so I guess I still have like a little bit of butterfly tendencies in me, because hooks are still my best friend. I love hooks. I will hang a hook up in a minute and put something on a hook, for easy access. I told you all about the key hook that I have. And then we have the coat hanger where my purse and stuff is. So I'm definitely a fan of hooks. And then open shelving works well for you. So that goes back to the built in bookcase that I was telling you all about. That really helped me out tremendously. Now, the bookcase also came with drawers underneath it. Now, those drawers were a whole different story. They were so filled with stuff, because the stuff that I didn't want to see or that I no longer felt like being bothered with, I would just take it and I would throw it into the drawer. And so every now and then, of course, something that I wanted to keep up with would end up in the drawer. And I would maybe go through the drawer, I don't know, like maybe every 3 to 4 months or something like that, just to kind of clean up and get it straight. But I would only go through it if I was really, really bored, or if I was looking for something that I needed and I was like, oh, it may be in the drawer. And then I'd open the drawer and I'd see how messy and junky it was. And so I'd be like, well, let me clean this out. And I would throw everything out, and the drawer would stay nice and neat for maybe 2 days before I started putting more stuff in there. So I guess teenage me would have really understood my husband throwing everything in the drawer just to kind of get it out of the way. Um, so all the bugs really kind of not intermingle with each other, but you can definitely have traits of multiple of the bugs, because as I said, I am a B now according to the quiz, but reading about the butterfly, I definitely still do identify with a few of the butterfly ways. And even now, like open shelving works great for me. In my office, I have this 9 shelf bookcase. And so I have a lot of my stuff on there with open shelving. And then I also have another stand that has like my printer and my sewing machine and my Cricut and like all my papers and stuff like that, so that I can actually see it and I can see what I have versus having to look for it. I also have the 3 stacked drawers that you can put stuff in, the clear ones that I have all of my vinyl and stuff in. I used to have it really organized, but anybody who crafts, when you have like extra pieces of vinyl, you're just kind of throwing it back in there. So that's not as organized as it once was. But open shelving and hooks and labels, they do still work for me. So a little bit of butterfly tendencies still hanging around there. And another thing that says about butterflies is that we have too much stuff and that we should make time to let go of the stuff from yesterday. So again, you all may remember me talking about my baton that I still have, which I can still twirl, by the way. I think I may have given that back to my mom, though. I'm not 100% sure. She'll confirm with me once she listens to the episode, and she'll let me know whether or not she still has my baton. But yes, I definitely do hold on to a lot of things. I'm very sentimental, and it is hard for me to get rid of things. I am trying to do a little bit better. I don't know. You'd have to ask my husband on that one, on what he would say. Say how much I have improved on giving stuff away from the time we first met up until now. But I can't help it. I just am attached to it. And this is actually funny. So the next thing that it says butterflies are easily distracted by their clutter. And bees and butterflies have a greater emotional attachment to their belonging than the other clutter bugs. Okay, so maybe I'm a bee fly. Remember my cousin was a lady fly butterbug. So maybe I'm a butter bee fly. I don't know. But I seriously, y'all, I really do just have like an emotional attachment to just about everything, probably. Okay, not everything, but a good bit of stuff I have an emotional attachment to. And I just don't know how to let it go. I still have, so my husband and I, it'll be 11 years that we've been married at the end of this month. And I still have the box full of our wedding cards. And my mom actually asked me one time if she could borrow the box because she knew somebody who was getting married and they needed a box for their card. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I'm like, but I want my box back. So I took out all of the wedding cards from our wedding, set them to the side. And then when my mom gave me the box back, I put all the cards back into the box, and it's in the closet in my son's playroom. So I'll let them go one day, maybe when we hit 15 years. Y'all check back in with me then and see if I've let go of any of those cards. I still have birthday cards from when I was little. I keep my birthday cards. I keep like my Christmas cards that my parents sent me, my Mother's Day cards, all of that. Um, and actually, I think like 2 years in a row, my parents actually sent me the exact same card, which I thought was hilarious. But anyways, I digress. So it says that it says to have a friend or family member to help you declutter, to keep you on track, and to help you let go of items that you are struggling to purge. Um, my husband has tried to help me with items that I'm struggling to purge, and so we'll have a box and we'll put stuff in. We'll be like, okay, we're gonna let this go, and then I just sneak it back into the keep box when he turns his head. And my son actually does the same thing. So usually we go through my son, so it's definitely around his birthday, and well, usually in between his birthday and Christmas, because his birthday is in October, and then of course Christmas. So usually we go through them right before Christmas, and then maybe again in like the middle of the year, June or July-ish. And so my husband will be trying to get rid of stuff, and then my son will like sneak it back into the room, and my husband's looking like, I thought that I put this in the giveaway pile. I was like, no, I need to keep this because I did this with it, and I remember when I got it. And um so that's a habit that I may have rubbed off on him. Maybe he's a butterfly, and I should have interviewed him for this episode. I'm not quite sure how far we would have gotten, though. Um, so, some tips for a butterfly is to use the four sort method. And that is to have four labeled or color coded baskets, bags, or boxes handy. And then one is for trash, one is to donate, and one is for does not belong, and the other one is to keep. It says that'll help you stay focused, but I mean, you can try it and you can see what may have worked for me, what may not have worked for me, may work for you. So I'm going to say don't knock it until you try it. It also suggests that you do a before picture of all your mess that you have, and then like find a picture somewhere online or something that you want it to look like, so that you can have a visual of it and you can know what your goal is. And another tip that it has is a 21 item toss every month. So to help you purge, it says to grab a bag and race around to find 21 items to get rid of as fast as you can. That would be extremely hard for me because I will have to sit there and think about it, and then I have to reminisce about it, and then I have to talk it over in my head, and then I would have to figure out, and then I'd have to, like, I'd end up talking myself into why I need to keep it. So, but again, don't knock it until you try. And it says, remember, stuff is just stuff. Don't put your belongings above your family or yourself. And it also talks about the 1 minute rule. If something takes less than a minute to put away, then just go ahead and do it right then and there. So those are some tips for a butterfly. And just reading through this, it was fun to just kind of reminisce about it and think back about my teenage years and how I've grown in organizing, and then to just also realize like how much I do still have the butterfly tendencies when it comes to like not being able to get rid of things and just holding on to stuff. So again, I just really hmm, So I guess not finding a butterfly did kind of work out in my favor because it helped me. So I am definitely going to work on trying to purge stuff. I won't make any promises. I'll keep you all updated on how my purging goes. I will say though that I did condense a couple of months ago. I do remember that I condensed some of my son's stuff that I had for keepsakes. I condensed it down from like I think 3 boxes to like one little small box. And when I say like small box, like it was a really small box. Like somebody gave us a gift in it. So it's like a small like gift box, and then one bin that I have his stuff in. So a box and a bin. So that's much better than what I had. And I am really, really trying hard to just let go of stuff. But I'm a work in progress. So I won't judge you. You don't judge me. You just go out there and be the best butterfly that you can be. And if you don't feel like getting rid of it, just don't. That's probably really bad advice. But if it had, okay, I'm not going to say don't, but if it has true like sentimental value to it, like don't get rid of your great grandmother's ring, or, don't get rid of your kid's christening outfit or the outfit that they came home from the hospital from, something like that, that you'll regret if you get rid of it. But if it's just a random piece of paper that you're holding on to that your kid scribbled on, like I had to get rid of a lot of those. I'm like, ooh, he scribbled on this. I need to keep this forever. Well, he scribbled on 50 other sheets and they all look alike. So things like that. Maybe start small with something like that and go from there. So that concludes today's episode of Butterflies. Next week will be the final segment in the What Type of Clutter Bug Are You? And that will be the bee, which will also be yours truly again. So maybe I'll compare and contrast a little bit. But thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you have not taken the quiz yet to find out what type of clutter bug you are, I will link it into the show notes. And like I said, this information by Cass is just wonderful. It just really helps you to figure out your organizing style and how you can work together with different organizing styles. And it does honestly give you good tips. So definitely check it out. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Please share the episode with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, and review. 5-star ratings and reviews helps the Modco podcast get on other shows' recommendation lists and helps new listeners to find me. Your 5-star review may be read on an episode. Also, if you would like to support this podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the show notes. Thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening. Please make sure to follow and rate the podcast whenever you listen.